fatter than Homer Simpson, lamer than Miles Peterson, and more boring than your great Aunt Maribel. Only those words can fit Bersercules, the Berserk Herc. Oh yeah! Hi, I'm Bersercules, the Berserk Herc, and today I'll be reviewing the third story from Superman number 138, called The Mermaid from Atlantis. Gee, I hope these Atlanteans can swim. The story starts with a splash page showing the future events of this story, which contains, what the fuck? A whale with Lois's face on it? What the super fuck? Unholy creepy Bible man! I can't tell if this is supposed to be silly, weird, bizarre, or just plain retarded. A whale with the face of Lois Lane? Am I suffering from hallucinations? Or is it that I can't control my love for Lois? Those are two odd conclusions to come to, Superman! Jeepers! As a guy who's met all sorts of alien creatures and weird monsters, you should also assume it could be a bizarre alien creature, a shapeshifter, a hologram, or a robot. In fact, hallucination or love are the least likely possibilities. Jeepers! Actually, the least likely would be it's Halloween under the sea, but hallucination and love are close seconds. No, Superman hasn't lost his mind. I'm responsible. I'm pulling every trick I can to get him to propose to Lois. 'Cause, that's how love works? Being tricked is being in love? Right on! So basically, you're making him think he's hallucinating so he'll marry Lois. Won't he just end up thinking he's going crazy and going to a therapist? What kind of asshole are you? Oh, you're a stupid way around mermaid, who's Superman's friend. Jeepers, with friends like this, who needs enemies? No, seriously, the whole conflict in this issue is this merlady, who is Superman's friend, fucking with him. There are no villains in this issue. It's good to know that these stories don't always have to revolve around Superman fighting crime. They sometimes revolve around people fucking with his personal life. I can't wait for a story where Superman has to fill out his super taxes. Oh wait, that story exists. Fuck. So the story starts off as Clark, Superman Kent, and Lois Lane are given an aquatic assignment. And at that moment, the mermaid, Lori Lemaris, who is married, and therefore technically not a mermaid, but more a mermissus, reads Clark Kent's mind. How amusing. As usual, Clark is pretending to be cowardly in order to shield his real identity of Superman. So, you just sit around reading people's minds? What the fuck? That's not intrusive. Should I be wearing a tinfoil hat as I review this? I'm getting an idea. Is it a super idea? And why the fuck are there fish swimming in your house? I mean, I get that it's under the ocean and all, and that there are fish in the ocean, but why do you let them swim through your house? Aren't they wild animals? I mean, there are deer on land, but people don't let them wander through their houses. But sometimes they like to hang out in my backyard. So Lori Lemaris then thinks back to past events that happened between her and Superman, like when she faked being crippled to live on land and fell in love with Superman. And when she was stricken so ill that no merperson on Earth was capable of saving her, and Superman had to fly to another planet to find an alien merperson a mer-alien? To save her, and who she then fell in love with, and friend-zoned Superman for. I wonder if the Man of Steel cries manly tears. As Lori's recollections end, her husband telepathically interrupts her thoughts. So, they can read each other's thoughts? No secrets in Atlantis. If I was in Atlantis, everyone would know how often I masturbate. And it's good to see that these Atlanteans can swim. Not all Atlanteans can do that. I'm looking at you, Marvel. Lori, I know what you're planning to do. Don't do it. I must, Ronald. I want Superman to be as happy as you and I. Aw, their relationship is just like most humans, except with fishtails, and fish swimming through their houses, and the fact that one of them is an alien. And wait, the alien merperson's name is Ronald? What the fuck? So, seriously, there's a whole school of fish swimming through their house now. What the fuck? Are they like hillbilly merpeople or something? You got a pretty fin there, boy. So, Lori starts to put her plan to make Superman marry Lois into action as Lois and Clark, the old adventures of Superman, now on a boat. I'm on a super boat. Head off to sleep and Lois wakes up early the next morning and sets off in a bathysphere alone to outscoop Clark. And once down in the depths of the ocean, Lori has a giant sea creature grab hold of the bathysphere. So are all women in this comic either conniving or manipulating? Jeepers! With women portrayed like this, it's no wonder they took so long to get fair wages. Anyway, this causes the action-loving tough-ass Lois Lane to pass out like a little girl. Thanks, comic book. Thanks. And then Lori sends a telepathic message to Clark Superman Kent, which he assumes is his super instincts. That must be my super instincts warning me. Wait, what the fuck? So basically he heard a voice in his head and just assumed it was a superpower? Does he just attribute all weird things that happen to him as superpowers? Is that why he has so many superpowers? Is his super breath just a gust of well-timed wind? Is his super wits him just remembering something but forgetting how he knew it? Is his X-ray vision just some invisible doctors with an invisible X-ray machine coincidentally walking right in front of his eye line? Is his flight just a fart that propels him into the air like an ass blaster? Is his super hearing him just hearing his own thoughts and projecting it onto other people? What the super fuck, Superman? Does he just call all randomness his powers? Huh. The Flash just ran quickly and saved that kid. I didn't know I had super control the Flash so he could save a kid's life. Powers. Cool. Hey, that old lady's buying groceries. I didn't know I had super make an old lady buy groceries powers. Huh. I'm just so super. So Superman hears a voice in his head and assumes it's a new superpower. Should crazy people in asylums think the voices in their heads are superpowers too? The thoughts in my head are just a voice-over dubbing. Or am I insane? Does it matter? Super wits! So Superman takes off his pajamas and, he already has a suit on under his pajamas. What the fuck? Does Superman just hate to be naked? Or can he only be naked if he's in the woods with two hardened criminals? Or does he just feel comfortable with two sets of clothes on? Jeepers! Racing out of the cabin and diving into the water so rapidly that the human eye cannot follow, Superman is not seen by the crew. Speed plus. Lame comment plus. Jeepers! It's like Superman's a kid or something. Reaching the bathysphere, the sea creature retreats. Mr. Sea Monster, let it go. Well, all that concerns me is Lois's safety. Mr. Sea Monster? What the fuck? Seriously? You're calling some giant sea creature Mr. Sea Monster? Are you trying out for a hosting job on a kids' TV show or something? What's next? Mr. Crime Boss? Or Mr. Evil Mad Scientist who's trying to take over the world? Or Mr. Child Molester? What the Mr. Fuck? And as Superman saves the bathysphere, he's attacked by sharks, which he kicks out of the way, causing them to fly up out of the water. Even though he kicked them sideways and downwards. Fuck spatial orientation. Now that's a superpower. So with the spatially impaired sharks out of his way, Superman is able to bring the bathysphere up onto the ship and save Lois. Lori then telepathically commands Superman to kiss her. 'Cause forcing people to kiss will bring about love. That's how love works. And is it just me, or is it always Sea Life trying to get a man to kiss a girl? You gotta kiss the girl. Anyway, Superman, feeling he's controlled, follows the instructions in his own fashion and kisses Lois Lane's forehead. And this pisses off Lois, because she wanted him to kiss her on the lips. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So Lois, distraught, goes and cries in her cabin. Big, strong woman with a tough job and respect from her peers, brought to tears because some super guy doesn't want her. Lame. And Lori is also disappointed with Superman's actions and, wow! There's a lot of fish in the sea! Every underwater panel is full of fish! Is the ocean overcrowded or something? Jeepers! So with Lori disappointed, Lori, just try it again, but add on the lips. The next day, as Lori swims over the ocean's surface, she finds a handsome man adrift in a raft near death and realizes she can use him to make Superman jealous. Yeah, 'cause a man near death is always looking to get laid. Actually, that's true.
Water! 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 And sweet, sweet pussy!
Would she have saved his life if she couldn't use him? So the ship finds the man adrift, thanks to Lori, and brings him on board, and instantly Lois realizes how expensive and fancy his clothes are, and realizes he must be someone important. Wow, Lois, you have a really keen eye for noticing little details, like how similar Superman's face is to Clark Kent's. And of course, the castaway immediately falls in love with Lois, and even though he doesn't remember who he is, or if he's already married, he asks Lois to marry him. Snap him up, Lois. He's a keeper. Lois tells him she needs time to think about it, and goes for a walk on deck. Looking up at the enigmatic stars, Lois's heart cries out for the answer to the age-old conflict. He'd be good to me, and perhaps I could learn to love him. Should I forget my love of Superman before I become an old maid? That's the age-old conflict she's having trouble with? What the fuck? These are the problems you want to have. Hold out for some guy you love, or marry a rich guy? Jeepers! I thought the age-old conflict for women was, should I put up with an abusive man because he can protect me from worse? So, sorry, I've got to leave, guys. My stomach feels terrible. I guess I ate too many donuts. Oh. Hi, Bersercules is feeling kinda ill, so I, Caleb Wallace, am gonna cover for him. So Lois then goes to Clark for the answers, but don't bother me with stupid love problems. Can't you see I'm seasick? So obviously, since Clark is sick, he goes off alone and then changes to Superman and flies off, only to return to the ship with a fancy-dressed man. The castaway recognizes the man and starts to remember. The fancy-dressed man then tells the castaway that he is a prince and pledged to marry a princess, and that if he doesn't, there will be war. Oh no, not a super war! So, following his duty, the ex-castaway gives up his love of Lois, if you could even really call it that, and has Superman fly them back to their country, leaving Lois alone and complaining, and leaving Lori frustrated. And there's another fish. Is the sea really that full of fish? Jeepers! Or do fish have really good agents? Or are they just really easy to draw? I'm gonna leave now. Bye! Sorry about that. I had to crap out all the donuts. So as Lois pines for marriage, Clark returns to deck. I'm now over my seasickness, Lois. That just lasted as long as Superman was around. Don't be suspicious. Lois, angry at losing her prince, tells Clark off, as she storms off. So Clark leaves, then Superman shows up, then Superman leaves, and Clark shows up. And nothing, Lois? Really? No suspicions? Nothing? Lois Lane, girl reporter! Seriously, why can't Lois tell they're the same guy? Is it really that hard? Were any of you tricked by me leaving? Or do you know my not-so-secret identity? So Lois Lane, world-famous reporter, remains clueless to Clark's well-timed exit and tells Clark off as we go over to the next panel and the next day as Superman is swimming in the ocean and, sees fish with Lois's face? Huh, that's not weird. So this is the part from the opening panel. Cool! This must be where the story really heats up. And as Superman moves closer to the fish, Lois's face disappears, replaced with normal fish faces. That's it? That little bit of story warranted the opening page? How fucking boring is this story if that's the biggest thing going for it? Heck, did they just add those fish with Lois's face to the story to make it more interesting at all? What the fuck? The intro for the story had more to do with this one panel of the story than the whole rest of the story. This is stupid. Business as usual. And, so we know why the fish had Lois's face on them, we see Lori explaining it to herself. Thanks, Lori. I'm glad people in this story tell us, the audience, things with their thoughts. It's fun. I should do all my reviews telepathically. I've placed lifelike plastic masks of Lois's face, fashioned by Atlantean scientists, on those fish, and the mask dissolved whenever I press this remote control button. You've got scientists working on your scheme to get Superman married? What the fuck? That's a fucking stupid waste of resources? Do Atlanteans have nothing better to do? No diseases to cure? No sick to help? What's next? Scientists wasting their time on making cosmetics? Oh shit. So basically Lori put Lois masks on fish so Superman would see them and think he's in love with Lois. What the fish? Oh, I just saw Lois's face on a fish. Must be love. What the fuck? That's stupid. And I thought we already established that Superman loved Lois Lane in that last story. Is Lori not able to read that in his mind? Or did Superman forget he loved her? Is he using his super wits again? Later, after Superman returns to the charter ship and resumes the guise of Clark Kent, which I'm sure Lois wouldn't notice, even if it happened right in front of her face, Lori beams a mental command to a school of whales, and in response, look out, Clark! Yo! So Lori's so desperate to get Superman to marry Lois that she's endangering other people by having whales ram a ship? Cause let's face it, with whales ramming a ship like that, anyone could fall over and bang their head on the deck and die. What the fuck? Show your super friend how much you like him by possibly endangering people he knows. Thanks, Lori. You've got great priorities. So Clark falls into the whale's mouth, and it quickly closes its jaws. If Clark escapes from the whale now, it will prove he's Superman. Then he'll have to marry Lois, so she will keep the secret of his identity. Now you're trying to get him to marry her to keep a secret? Do you even know what love is? So Clark falls off the boat and into the whale's mouth. Seriously, it could have been anyone. And then it spits Clark out, and Lois, watching, yells, "Aha! You escaped! Don't try to give me any lame excuses. This definitely proves you're Superman." Seriously, this is what gets you suspicious? Not him leaving all the time just before Superman appears and reappearing just after Superman leaves? But him falling into a whale's mouth and then being spat out? That's where you draw the line? That's how you figure he's Superman? That? Really? How does an affinity for being eaten by whales equal being Superman? Is Jonah Superman's secret identity? So Lois accuses Clark of being Superman, and Aquaman then appears out of nowhere and explains how he helped Clark get out of the whale by commanding the whale to spit him out. Wow! Aquaman's powers are the ability to swim, which not everyone under the sea can do, and come out of nowhere and save Superman's secret identity. I telepathically ordered the whale to release Clark. So Aquaman doesn't have standing orders that all whales shouldn't eat people? And Aquaman popping up like that and saying what he said makes it seem like he's helping hide Superman's secret identity. If Clark wasn't Superman, why would Aquaman need to say all that? But it matters not, for Aquaman's shouted half-assed explanation is all that's needed to dissuade the suspicion of ace investigating reporter Lois Lane. She's an awesome reporter. And then Superman explains to himself what happened. Thanks, Superman. I wish everyone was so helpful with their thoughts. Superman rarely thinks, but when he does, it's explanation. When I was inside the whale, my telescopic vision detected Aquaman nearby, and using my power of super ventriloquism, I asked Aquaman to free Clark Kent from the whale's mouth. Super ventriloquism? Underwater? Through a whale? Holy fuck! His ventriloquism really is super! And Aquaman doesn't know he's Clark? Then why did he say all that stuff that helped make Clark not seem like Superman? Huh. Probably the same reason Superman narrates to himself. So with Lori's plan ruined, seriously Lori, if you want Lois to find out Clark Kent is Superman, you could, just tell her! Later, Clark switches to Superman once again, then surprises Lori, and confronts her about what she's been doing, and tells her that he's been aware of her meddling since the fish with Lois's face. Lori, you meant well, but please, do me a super favor, will you? In the future, allow me to pick my own wife. A super favor? Do you just add super in front of everything you do? What the super fuck? So the story ends with Clark Kent and Lois Lane on deck thinking. Lois about the possibility of Superman proposing to her. Don't hold your breath, Lois. And Clark. First Supergirl tried to get Superman married off to Lois. I remember that one. That was last review. Now Lori pulled the same stunt. Who will try it next? Crypto? Crypto the super dog? That'd be super fucked up. Wait, that did happen, and you'll see it next review. Cheapers. This is like a trilogy of trying to get Superman married. So that's it. It's now the end.